Hi, I'm Mark Gaylor, Sony Alpha Ambassador, and in this series of short video tutorials we're going to deep dive into Sony's new menus that we see on cameras such as the A7 IV and the Alpha 1. So without much further ado, let's get started. Once you've set up your camera correctly, there's very little need to go into the main menus. And one of the features that helps you avoid going into those menus is the FN menu. Now the FN menu can be accessed by pressing the FN button on the back of the camera. And this will bring up 12 most useful menu settings that you can adjust on the fly. And you can do this with the camera at your eye, so you don't need to be looking at the monitor when making these changes. The problem with the default setup, however, is there are a lot of duplicate settings that we don't actually currently need in that FN menu. For instance, the drive mode top left by default can be accessed by simply pressing the left side of the control wheel. So we could easily assign that to something more useful. Likewise, if we move along to the focus mode, we can access that by pressing the C3 key. If we look at the focus area, we can access that by pressing the C2 key. And the ISO settings can be accessed by pressing the right side of the control wheel. You're getting my point here. I'm sure that all of these items could be better assigned to something else. And it goes on. The exposure compensation dial is on the top right side of the camera, so we don't need to use the FN menu to make exposure compensations. Also, the image quality setting bottom right there gives us quick and easy access to the record media settings and vice versa. So we only really need one of these two icons in the FN menu, and again we could assign something more useful. The auto white balance can be assigned by pressing the C1 key. The creative look is really only for JPEG shooters, so for a RAW shooter that again is a redundant FN menu item. And the same goes for flash mode. If you're not a regular user of flash, then again that could be reassigned to something else. And we don't actually access some of the more useful flash settings from that flash mode setting there. So check out my flash settings video tutorial if you want to get an idea of where we can go to get access to the more useful flash settings. Okay, so let's go about and reassign these FN menus. So we're going to press the menu button on the top of the camera there, and then go into the yellow setup menu, page 3, operation customize, and then come over to FN menu settings. Now this will bring up 12 settings for use with stills and a different 12 menu settings for when we're shooting movies. Now some of them will flow through, so you might want to check whether you actually need that setting for shooting movies as well. Now what I'm showing you here is all of the settings that I prefer to use, and you can access this by downloading my CamSet file via the patreon.com/Mark Gaylor website there. Let's take a look at how we can maybe change one of these settings. I'll go to that creative look for a RAW shooter. Maybe we could think of something more useful to assign there. So we'll go in and we'll cycle through. First of all, when we click that item, it shows us what is already assigned there, creative look. I now need to browse through the menus looking for the item that I want to replace, and I'll choose ISO auto minimum shutter speed. Once you've navigated to the ISO auto minimum shutter speed, you could press the center button in the middle of the control wheel, and this would give you access to a vertical menu of the ISO auto minimum shutter speeds, and you could go up and down that menu item using the front dial on the camera. We can press the left or right side of the control wheel on the back of the camera to go sideways in a sub menu, or we can use the rear dial on the top of the camera to access those submenu settings. And here I'm going from fast to faster. That is basically doubling and then doubling the minimum shutter speed again to avoid camera shake or perhaps to freeze more quickly moving subject matter. Now there is actually a faster way of navigating these FN menus without pressing that center button in the control wheel, and that is simply first press the FN button on the back of the camera, then navigate to your preferred FN menu option using the multi-selector or joystick on the back of the camera. We don't need to press the center button to enter the menu. We can simply dive straight in with the front and rear control wheels. So the front wheel will access the main settings, and if we go to a menu with submenus, then we would use the rear dial on the back of the camera. And that is of course very quick. When we've got the camera to our eye, we can simply press the FN button and then change or modify the setting using the front and rear dials. So we don't need to lower the camera to make those quick and fast changes. One more thing that you can also access by pressing the FN button is if we press the display button repeatedly, we'll go to all of the camera settings displayed on the monitor and inside the finder as well. If we then press the FN button in this display view, we can then navigate around and then again using the front and rear dials make modifications to those camera settings. So there you go. FN menu should be able to avoid having to go into the main menus once you've carefully selected your favorite 12 menu items for stills and a different 12 for shooting movies. If you found this information useful, head over to patreon.com/Mark Gaylor. I'm offering an Alpha Creative Skills support channel where you can download a 500-page camera-specific ebook, and I've covered most of the late model Alpha cameras. You'll also be able to download a CamSet file if you own one of the later model Alphas. You'll be able to set up your entire camera with just a single file copied to a memory card. I also offer additional ebooks for people to download to help them master the skills of creative photography, and also a range of 1-hour seminars that look at the using the camera gear to the best effect and also to build up your skills of photography in general. So head over to patreon.com/Mark Gaylor.